Hey ladies, Coach Lou, and in this video I'm going to talk to you about problem areas. Where do they come from? How can we combat them? What am I talking about when I come to problem areas? So we all have that one area that we just carry a little bit more body fat than we do in other areas. Where does it come from and how can we combat it? So the first thing to remember is sometimes our body shape is defined by the genetics that have been passed down. However, our diet very much plays in a big part in what our body looks like. And I've said this several times before in videos, you are very much what you eat. And certain foods and certain hormones affect our body in very different ways. Some of us are a lot more susceptible to these things as well. So if we start with the top of the body, so let's look at back fat and arm fat. So when I say arm fat, I'm talking about the fat that tends to carry around here. So what causes that? It's as simple as this. Over a period of time, there's just been too much insulin going into the body. Now, I'm not going to go too much into how insulin works in the body, but if you do go to my video on carbs and how carbs work, you will get a bigger grasp of that. But basically, in layman's terms, it's been that there's been too much carb intake over a long period of time, and therefore the body fat stores in this area, so around the arms and the back. So if you're carrying a lot of body fat in the back or on the backs of your arms, or you're finding you're going through a transformation and it's changing a lot slower, it's there because that's became your kind of stuck area, and it's been due to your diet to this point. So it doesn't mean that, oh, if I just cut all carbs out, the body fat's just going to fall off shooey. That's not really how it works, and it probably will be the last area to change, usually, not always. Basically, now quite often what happens is people will say, I don't really have much in the way of carbs though, but I eat loads of fruit. If you're eating loads of fruit, there is your problem, because let's remember, the fruits are a carb, and certain fruits, majority of fruits, will spike that insulin a lot faster. So if you're eating a lot of fruits, research it. I always recommend sticking to the likes of berries, apples and pears, as opposed to eating a lot of bananas and other high sugar fruits. Berries, apples and pears are lower in GI, so the insulin is going to be completely different to what it is when you're eating other types of fruits. So if you're thinking, I don't eat lots of bread, I don't eat lots of pasta, but let me just get this straight for you as well. Carbs are not the enemy, but eating them in the right way is what makes the difference. So even if you eat a lot of clean carbs and you are not and you're overeating them, it's still going to affect your body in the same way, okay? However, processed carbs are going to get there a lot quicker, and that's mainly due to the fact of all the hidden sugars that are in them, mainly due with all the hidden chemicals that are in them, and it just affects our body in a completely different way. So back fat very much has been the cause of high carb intake, and again, chocolate comes into that category, okay? Sugar comes into that category. So that's your back fat, okay? Let's move down the body slightly. So let's move down to the tummy. So again, the same principles as the back fat. It's and the arm fat, it comes down to what your diet has been like, and it comes down to that insulin again, and that high carb intake, that high sugar intake that you have been having in your diet, and it sits around that middle. Now, cortisol, which is a stress hormone, causes a little bit of havoc around the middle area and the hips, okay? Now, that's a stress hormone. So if you're overly stressed, this is how I'm going to put this. It does not mean that you're going to gain loads of weight. It just means that the release of that hormone makes life a bit more difficult if you're trying to. You might find you hold on to it a bit more. And if your diet isn't on point and you're eating a lot of the foods that would naturally make you gain, processed foods, the wrong type of carbs at the wrong time, along with the cortisol, you can see how that middle area, those hips, are going to start to hold on to body weight. Now, if we come down again, in fact, before we go down, I can't stress enough when it comes to your tummy, if your goal is, you know, want to lose a lot of body fat there, you want to get some abs, That's not an overnight process. Some of us are genetically gifted and naturally have them, and you'll find you lose body fat quite quickly in that area and they shine through. The rest of us, myself included, it's very much down to your nutrition, and sometimes until you've really ripped and shredded a lot of body fat, you're not going to see those abs for a while. So you can do as many ab exercises as you want. It's all in your food, guys, all in your food. Let's take it down though. So let's come down and let's talk about the down from the bum into the legs. So if you're carrying a lot of body fat in that lower half, I highly recommend you go and watch my video on estrogen. I'm not going to go into too much depth in this video. However, generally that suggests there is an estrogen problem. So one of the highest causes of foreign estrogen, in fact, let me reword this, it's not an estrogen problem, it's a foreign estrogen problem. We have estrogen in our body, we need it as women. However, foreign estrogen, one of the main causes of foreign estrogen and storing as body fat in that lower area is hormonal contraception. I am not saying come off of your hormonal contraception, that's entirely up to you, but it can be a major factor in you gaining a lot of weight around that area. And the simple reason for it is our body doesn't know what to do with the extra foreign hormone, and it stores it in that area. Now also your food, so even if you are on a clean diet, if you're not eating organic, and even when it comes down to your meats, if you're not eating completely organic, there's been no chemical in the process whatsoever, then you can hold on to that body fat and find that that area is going to be a lot harder to work on due to it. And the reason being is foods nowadays, even the soil nowadays isn't the same because of the chemicals and the pesticides that are being sprayed. And what happens is our body doesn't know what to do with these foreign chemicals, and it stores it in the lower half. So if your diet is already bad and you're eating a lot of processed foods and there's a whole storm of chemicals going through your body and you're holding a lot of body fat in that lower half, you need to make some drastic changes to the way you eat. And even when it comes down to water, for example, making sure that you stick to bottled water, and if you want to be really specific, glass bottled water, so you're completely away from chemicals, it will make a drastic difference in you trying to change the shape of your body. But if you watch my video on estrogen, you'll find it quite helpful. Now when it comes to all of these body parts, I highly recommend that you try and you stick to organic. Make sure when it's organic that it actually is organic. Sometimes you've got to watch in some of the supermarkets that it's maybe not quite as organic as what it would be should you get it from a local farm store, which isn't always as possible if you're maybe living in a city. However, sticking to organic, so we are completely washing out as much chemical process as possible, because like I say, the body doesn't like these foreign chemicals, and it's why we store body fat a little easier. So if you're on a clean diet and things are going a bit slower than you'd like, it's worth just switching over and making sure it's all clean, making sure you're going with bottled water so there's no chemical process. Again, if you go with the glass bottle, it's a better process than it is in the plastic bottle. And generally being very careful with what you eat. And like I say, I'm not telling you not to eat carbs, because carbs are very much not the enemy. I eat carbs every day as part of my nutrition plan, and I'm far from overweight, but I know when to eat them, I know the right times to eat them, I know how much I should be eating, so it's always worth tracking that. If you want to know more about carbs and how carbs affect your body, watch my video on estrogen. If you can't find it, comment underneath and I'll reshare the video at the top of the newsfeed so that you can watch it. Now, what else can we do? So there's our nutrition. We're talking about keeping it completely clean, making sure that we're getting the right source of food. If you are a coffee drinker, again, I've got a video on coffee if you want to watch it. I highly recommend ensuring that you go with organic, because coffee is the most widely sprayed piece of food that you can get that is sprayed with pesticides. So go with organic, because if you're drinking a lot of coffee, you're already putting stress on the adrenal glands, but you're adding all this chemical storm into your body if it's not organic. Making sure you're drinking plenty of water as well. Water is one of the best fat burners you can get. You're aiming for 2 to 3 litres a day. I know that sounds a lot, but you will find it makes a drastic difference to your energy, to your skin, your just general all over body. So make sure you're doing that, because what it's doing is it's flushing the toxins out as we're going. Training. What I usually recommend, first of all, you need to work all over your body. There's no point in just working one part. I see this in the gym all the time. You get guys that come in, they just like to train their chest, women that come in that just like to train their lower half, and you really need to make sure you've got the dynamics in your body properly. So make sure that you are training every body part, you're not leaving a body part out. However, if you have a body part that is just a lot slower than the rest, it's that problem area, whether it be the back fat, the arm fat, the tummy fat, the legs, what I recommend is getting an extra session in based on that body part. So if the upper body is the problem, get an extra upper body workout in. If the lower body is the problem, get an extra lower body workout in nearer the end of the week, so that it's apart from the first one. When it comes to the tummy, I'm not saying go and do loads of ab work. What I'm saying is you need to get that diet on point. I can't stress that enough when it comes to your tummy. But it's pretty simple formula. It's just a case of getting your food right. It's a case of getting your training right. If you've got a problem area, it's taking a lot longer than everywhere else, make sure you're adding in an extra session so you're hitting that body part twice as hard as the rest of your body, because it predominantly needs more work than the rest of your body. Don't be training it every single day, because you need to give your body that rest that it needs so that it can repair. If you're weight training, make sure you're having shakes, your protein shakes and your BCAAs, so that your muscles can repair and replenish faster, so you can hit that training harder and so you can get those gains quicker. So it's just supposed to be a quick video, right over the 10-minute mark. Hopefully it covers everything that you need to know. Like I say, if you want to know more about carbs and insulin and how it works, go to my video in my video section based on carbs and how they work. If you want to know more about estrogen and how estrogen affects the body fat in the lower half, go to my video on estrogen. If you want to know more on contraception and how that can cause havoc, I've also got a video on there as well. If you can't find them, comment underneath and I will share them. Source your food out properly, guys. This is something that as a race we don't do enough of anymore, is we don't take enough care over where is my food actually coming from and what's actually in it. And that goes right down to an apple. You know, what's been sprayed on that, what's seeped through the skin onto that, what am I eating? Make sure you research it all, make sure you know what's going in your mouth, and I guarantee you will see a difference in the shape of your body a lot faster. Catch you all later, have a great day, Coach Lou.